people. How did you lose your virginity? Girlfriend at the time. I was staying at her house for her little brother's confirmation in a spare bedroom. She walked into the bedroom wearing a toweling robe. She took off the robe and got into bed with me. There was a charity thing on the telly child line. 1988 and I lost my virginity to Scottish band Wet 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 singing a cover version of With a Little Help from My Friends originally by the Beatles. This song. I'm old. If it makes you feel any worse, you are literally old enough to be my father. The ex in question and I are still Facebook friends. She became a grandmother this year. I'm well aware how old we're getting. I was 23 and I was in rare form. I went to a punk rock show that my friend invited me to. We were supposed to meet inside the venue but he was running late. So to kill some time I thought I should talk to some people. This girl sits next to me. I say hi. Turns out we have some things in common and we have a great night. I give her a ride home. Get her number and see her 2 days later at her house party at her house to celebrate her birthday. The party is going great. I just spent the night talking to her friends and not her so much. On my way out, she invites me up to her room to show me some pictures. I knew then it was going to happen and it did. The whole story was quick and unexpected. Fell in love with a girl at the rock show. Somebody liked him when he was 23. But he is still more amused by TV shows. Very awkwardly with my girlfriend my freshman year of college. She broke up with me a week later the night before my chem final. I took solace in the fact that she failed and I got an A. Homie UPSST her brains out. This is fantastic. I will forever use this line whenever I tell that story. You're welcome. D. Awkward teenage me thought inviting a girl over to play Kingdom Hearts was innocent. She had other plans. I played Kingdom Hearts at my buddy's house all the time. We never had sex. Perhaps I just got lucky. I don't lose. While you were losing your virginity, I was studying the art of the blade. M-blade. MB blade. I was 22. She was 19. In college. Both virgins. Neither of us was prepared for me having an impossible time coming. I distinctly recall her bouncing on my PSST at one point doing __/. We eventually gave up and got Chinese food. Since we'd sort of figured it'd be closer to 2 thrusts in less than 30 seconds awkward first time sex than PSST for an hour and still can't come awkward first time sex and the dining hall had closed in the meantime. Front seat of my mother's station wagon behind an elementary school in a Canadian February. Did the windows fog up? Definitely. Nice. 3 days ago. In a hotel room with my long-distance love that I'm visiting for this Thanksgiving week. Congrats my friend. My family was taking our annual summer trip to the lake. I was like, Mom and Dad, please let me bring my boyfriend. They were like, okay, but you're not allowed to have sex with him while we're there and he's sleeping in another room. I was like, you guys, don't even worry. We've never even had sex. Which was true. So they let me bring my boyfriend to the lake under these conditions. Soon as we got to the lake, I was like, hey boyfriend, let's go on a hike. I took him into the woods and we had sex as soon as we were out of my parents' sight. The lake? In my boyfriend's house. Neither of us finished. Took about 2 hours on and off. We talked about dinosaurs and yeast infections. Afterwards I took a nap and he packed a picnic. And we walked to the park to people watch. 10/10ths would lose virginity again. That honestly sounds so nice. The dinosaur or yeast infection part. Yeast infections was the leading cause of the dinosaurs' extinction. Can you even imagine the stink of a yeasty brontosaurus PSST? Good Lord Almighty. There would be waterfalls of discharge. The amount of optimism in this question is staggering. I go through life confidently. To a very tall woman in a bush outside her parents' house. I was 17. We'd been dating 2 years. Lost it in a kind of public place. Lasted about 10 seconds. Maybe. He finished. I didn't. I did. However. Bleed through my pants and had to use his jacket to cover it. 3 minutes later he took his jacket back because he didn't like not wearing one, and I got to spend the rest of the day sporting jeans with my virgin blood on them. I wouldn't go through that again in a million years. What a PSST. My first girlfriend was a lifeguard and we were both virgins at 17. Frequently I would pick her up from work at the YMCA-style athletic/tennis/pool facility she worked at around 8 to 9 p.m. and help her lock up. One night I forgot to lock on of the doors. After a movie at the theater across the street, I pop my trunk and grab some towels. Come on, let's go skinny dipping. A couple minutes of hair twirling and excuses later, we sneak under the fence, through the door, and skinny dip the pool she guards by day. Quite amazing. I ate her out on the side of the pool and laid her down on a boogie board type thing on the pool deck. 10/10. How the PSST was that your first time? Mine was us just watching a movie while her parents are out. That's a romantic comedy. I tried like 4 to 5 times to set up a rom-com bang with my first girlfriend for our first time. After constantly getting interrupted by just impossible circumstances, she pulled me into my building's staircase and PSST my brains out. Now that's a rom-com men can enjoy. I texted a girl I met the day before. Would you like to have some sex? She did. Score. I know, right? I really didn't think it would work at all. But right after I said it, she said she was coming over. Then I panicked. LOL. I mean, the worst she could have said was no. Way to put yourself out there. I mean, she could have screenshot the text and posted it on social media, ruining his reputation, but it'd be. My girlfriend in high school was convinced that if we did PSST, she still had her virginity. So I pleasantly obliged and we did PSST throughout our relationship. Vaginal was a few years later with a girl I met through Reddit. A girl I met through Reddit. Please elaborate. I met a girl on /r/pics, I think. Replied to a comment. Comment thread went off course and we decided to PM. Long talks and phone number exchanges and then Skype calls. She was 18, I was 20 at the time. This was like 3 years ago. She wanted to meet bad, but I'm in New England and she's in Florida. So a quick plane ride up and we met. Everything was cool but no sex. Just intense foreplay. Went down to where she was and that's when it happened. We dated for like 4 months or something, but only met those 2 times and we both couldn't handle the strain of being far apart, so we split. I still chat with her from time to time to catch up. Nothing crazy, but she was an info and a good PSST. PSST. Reddit got someone laid. That feels strange. A paradox. I feel a great disturbance on the force. As if millions of voices suddenly yelled out in amazement and were suddenly silenced. On the 8th hole of a putt-putt golf course. Me and my then GF had had a bit too much to drink. On the 8th hole of a putt-putt golf course. Not sure if literal or innuendo. What would 8th hole even mean? Right ear? Idk. Back of the knee maybe. At 15. To a guy I thought would kill himself if I didn't. I wish I had a funnier story to tell. Man. I was 15 too and was also in a manipulative relationship. Pretty traumatic and hard to get over for me. To a girl vastly more experienced than I. Due to extreme pregnancy fears. I had already had oral and PSST sex with girls before I had vaginal intercourse. This girl, Megan, had a crush on me and I was in between girlfriends at the time. As I later learned, Megan had only been with one guy before. But they had had sex a lot while they were together. Due to being a teenager in a small town, there weren't a lot of opportunities for us to be alone anywhere where sex could reasonably occur. One Friday night my house was empty and she had told her mother she was going to the football game, so she had an excuse to be in town for a few hours. We met. Went back to my house. And fooled around for a while. Finally we get to the sex part. I get the condom on. Manage 2 thrusts and blow my load. Not knowing what else to do. I proceed to go down on her for about 20 minutes before she asks me to stop. We get dressed. I walk her back to the high school so she could wait to be picked up. We have extremely awkward small talk. We never got together after that, and she told everyone that would listen about my performance. 2/10. But did have sex. She told everyone that would listen about my performance. That's a PSST thing to do. Seriously. What else can you expect from a virgin? Seems odd if he'd had oral and PSST though. The act was awful. He was very much a two-pump pony. When we finished and went downstairs, he threw the trim condom wrapper at his mate in celebration. His friend laughed because it was trim. I bewilderingly laughed along with no clue. Poor guy's ego must have been battered. What's a trim? Like? Size small? I googled it and yet. It seems to be for small PSST. Googled it. Right. Googled my wallet. At this girl's place when I was 16. Said girl became a prostitute. Obviously you were so good you got her addicted to sex. Pretty awkwardly. The actual act went down well, but my foreskin got pulled back way further back than I was accustomed to. So I pulled out, went to the toilet. Looked at the little PSST, and though yeah I'm a man now. The PSST air is stinging the PSST out of my cock, but this is what manliness must feel like. Put on my boxers, agony. We spent TE night together and was so hard to keep the wincing and flinching to myself. Next day we went out. My foreskin still pulled way too far back. PSST, I felt like I was inside out and the air just so painful. But then part of me thought, yeah, this is what it's like to cross over the threshold into manhood. I need to suck it up. Anyway, we walked around the shops with me bent double in agony. Had to tell her what happened and head to A&E to get sorted out. She stayed outside the curtain while I screamed in agony. Came walling out of there though 10 feet tall. Felt a million times better after the doc shoved the mouse back in the house and also was no longer virgin. Awesome. Had a Pizza Hut to celebrate. Holy PSST, that sounds horrible. I don't have a PSST myself, so this might be a dumb question. But why couldn't you have just done what the doctor did? Was it just too painful? Also, pizza makes everything better. Good choice. Yeah, I know, and that's what the doctor said too. Don't you know how to put it back? But it was way farther back than I'd ever seen and so sensitive. Part of me also thought this is the way PSST are meant to be, so I'll get used to it in the end. Haha, I can just imagine you in horrible pain thinking, well, this is my life now. Haha, yeah, that's exactly it. Never before had the strange combination of pride and crippling agony. Blackout drunk. Don't remember a thing. How did you know it happened? I had condoms in my wallet. 2 of the wrappers were on my clothes on the floor. I wasn't exactly playing Sherlock, so I didn't rummage through the place looking for the rubbers. Woke up in a strange apartment with a girl I didn't recognize and a major hangover. I decided to do a strategic retreat. That is, get my clothes and sneak out into the stairwell. Get dressed. Go outside and look for a street sign, then call for a pickup. Not exactly my manliest moment, but I was 16 and shy. What the hell did I miss out on in my 16th year of life? Edit. 17th year of life. Sex. Girl I met at a fair over the summer when I was 15 or 16. Dated for most of the summer. Spent most days together. Then she spent a week at her cabin, so we were away from each other longer than we ever had been after meeting. She came back. We had some of the worst sex you could possibly imagine. As we were heading down the stairs to grab the remainder of our clothes, my parents walked in. We hid downstairs till they went to bed, then she left. I then panicked and broke up with her. I obviously wasn't mature enough to deal with the aftermath of sex. It's over a decade later and I still feel bad about it. She was a good girl and didn't deserve that kind of treatment. Her best friend still blames me. Even though she forgave me. I don't really blame her friend. Was watching Shaun of the Dead. Got pretty hot and heavy during the movie. Mind you, the only thing I had done prior to this was kiss. Never even touched a boob before. Now she had stripped off her clothes, slammed my hands on her breasts, and was about to mount me. I could only think, please God, let this happen. When she stops and goes, I just started my birth control and you don't have any condoms. We shouldn't do this. And no. It's okay. I pleaded. But yet. She was smart. And I was thinking with my PSST. So it ended there. I thought. No problem. We'll get condoms tomorrow and have at it again. No dice. Literally an hour later. She gets a call that her grandmother died. She's naked on my dorm floor. Sobbing. So she flies out to the funeral. Has a planes, trains, and automobiles montage of travel hijinks that result in her getting back 3 days late. So after a week of not seeing her, we go to a Halloween party. Dance around for a bit. Go back to her place and start making out. I finally have sex and come in like a minute. She was like, well, do you wanna go again? I said, hell yeah. So we screw for about 15 to 20 minutes. But the fun had to stop sometime. We try 6-9 ing as my legs spread across her face. I'm thinking. Oh PSST. I can't hold in gas. Sure enough. About a minute into she gets a hot jet of fart straight in her face. And she spits me out and rolls me off the bed. I was distraught. And apologized profusely. She was just laughing so hard. And in between she said. That was hilarious. But never PSST do that again. Edit. To answer the two most prominent group of replies to this, yes. This actually happened. But I suppose it doesn't really matter whether you believe it or not. And yes. I did actually marry her. Unfortunately. Things didn't work out so we are now divorced. I'm glad she had such a good sense of humor. Nice job. Kind of just slipped in when cuddling naked. Then decided to keep going. It was a beautiful sunny afternoon in early September. We lied down for hours afterwards talking. Quite nice. Being young was fun. Just slipped in? What? She slipped. Fell. Landed on his PSST? Alright shady. Maybe he's right Grady. But think about the baby before you get all crazy.